We can beat the odds once. Okay. Twice. That's incredible. 3 times. I don't think so. It's been a while since I've been on the Dingwall, so we gotta take it out of mothballs. Literally. Now I just need to use my shrinking spray. Ugh. We're back. More importantly, you're back, watching this video. I'm Lieutenant Mark, and this is Hegemony Part 2. And for once, the previously on segment is vitally important, because Part 1 was 2 years ago. I couldn't believe it. I checked it. Do you want to know when Hegemony Part 1 was? Like, August 10th or something. 2023. In your time, that was 2 years ago. For me, that was a long time ago. So you can imagine I'm pretty confused with Hegemony Part 2. I could barely remember what happened last time. Something to do with the Gorn, something to do with colonists getting abducted by aliens, those aliens being the Gorn. So what's up with Part 2? We're back in the game. We're reviewing Star Trek again. And it's been 6 months, I think, something like that. A bit of a vacation for me. So I tried to fill that gap time with some random stuff. Hopefully it was okay. But we're back in the swing of things. And hopefully right after this we're going straight into Starfleet Academy. Who knows? That's more than enough on the general situation going on here. Let's see what's going on with the general situation in this episode. Strange New World Season 3 is back. Hegemony Part 2. We have to get those colonists back. They're in that gigantic Gorn ship. They're eating them. They're in pods. It's all very gross and scary. And might I say, this episode looks like $1 billion. That's one thing you can say about New Trek. It looks amazing. It doesn't always look canon, but it looks fantastic on screen. Sounds amazing. Very slick. Very cinematic. Is that what makes Star Trek good? I guess that depends on who you ask. For me, it's the writing, which is, it's only the hard thing to do. The hardest possible thing to do is write something good. We can make it look good, we can make it sound good, but writing, that really makes or breaks it. We're on the Enterprise. Our crew is hot off the trail of that gigantic Gorn ship. I don't know if it's a hunter, but the small ones are called hunters. I don't know what this giant one is. They do look pretty cool, but what's not cool is that we need to capture those people back that were taken from that, what was it, Parnassus Beta? Yeah, good idea. We'll have this colony right on this Federation demarcation line. What did you think was going to happen? What did you think as a Star Trek watcher was going to happen? Did you watch this episode, by the way? This review will probably perform better if you watch the episode, or indeed, if you don't plan on watching it at all, you can get kind of a blow-by-blow. We need to use Walkite. That's right. It's some kind of thing that has subspace bosons attached to it that we can throw at this Gorn ship, and that way we're going to track it when it's light years away. Welcome to Star Trek. Sir, they've gone to warp. We can't track their warp signature. They've gone to warp. We can't track it. Oh, here comes this little piece of technobabble. Oh, that'll fix it. Sir, they've gone to warp, and we can track their warp signature. We can track them. How did we do that? This other piece of technobabble comes along. Right now it's Walkite. So, there's just so many instances of Star Trek of someone getting away. But wait, we can find them because blank. And this time it's Walkite. It was Spock's suggestion, so we're going with it. That's how we track this ship that's getting away when we reconvene with Starfleet itself, wherein we talk to Admiral April. Sorry, I called you Robert. Is that okay if I call you Bob? Pike calls him Bob. When we're really getting down to brass tacks. Come on, Bob. We got to do something. We can't just let these Gorn have their way with us. We're prey. And April says, essentially, we have billions of lives at stake to protect the Federation. Correct. We can't cause a war with the Gorn. Correct. And we need to somehow show that we're not prey. We have to punch back somehow. And by the way, this mission's off the record. Wow. Thanks, April. Nobody tell anybody at Starfleet that April just let us off the hook like that. April's just giving us a blank check. Hey guys, do whatever you want to stop the Gorn. I don't care. That's essentially what we're getting here. And, your mileage may vary on that. Do you want to stop the Gorn at the risk of causing a war? Do you believe in Pike? Do you think he can do it? Do you think he can punch back while kicking the can down the road for the next people to deal with the Gorn? Like Kirk, James Kirk that is, just having to have a punch out with one and save the universe from the Gorn just by punching one? No. That's not what's going to happen. It's going to be something totally different that's probably going to come back at the end of this season, if I had to guess. April is essentially saying that the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. But Pike is trying to say that we're only delaying the inevitable here, and they're going to keep coming. Depends on you who you side with. But I'm siding with Starfleet on this one. Starfleet seems to think X, Y, and Z, but Pike wants to go after them. But alas, Pike is the captain. You do what you want. Pike is taking this ship and everyone in it to get those colonists back, with or without Scotty's transponder thing or not. By the way, your B plot, and you have a C plot, and a D plot. There's a lot going on in this episode. I won't be spoiling my review score here, but my review at the end of this, it really relies on how confusing this episode became for me. I'm not that stupid, but I could barely follow what was going on. We need a solid A and a solid B plot, not a semi-solid A plot and then half-baked B, C, and D. Not to spoil my review score, maybe you can guess what it is. Scotty's plot, along with Pelia, and they perform well together. I generally thought their dialogue, their chemistry, was pretty cool on screen, and may I add, the performances all around were pretty good. But in this case, Scotty is trying to develop again that transponder spoofer that he developed when he was on this colony back 2 years ago in that first part of this two-parter. We have to trick the Gorn into thinking we're one of them. They don't use visual information. That's why they don't have windows. So, yeah, guess what? We're just going to pretend that we're a Gorn. And Scotty, you see, cannot develop this when he has time. He works well under pressure. He's Scotty, after all. So, and the first of what I think was intentional laughs here on behalf of the people who created this episode, Pelia pretends that we're in the thick of it. Oh my gosh, we're going to die. You got to get this working right now. And then the urge to finish it gets Scotty to finish it. He couldn't figure it out before, but when he was in a rush, being a fake rush this time, he actually got it finished, but not without him skulking off, talking about having lost his original commanding officer. You're not my commanding officer, Pelia. Blah, blah, blah. I'm going to sulk away into the corner here because I'm just little baby Scotty. I'm just little baby Scotty. All these characters are just little babies. You see, we're what are we, like 5 years out from TOS? All these people saying these aren't the characters that you know yet. Yet we're like 5 years away. We're so close to going into TOS. How different can they be? So Scotty walks off set and drops directly into a black hole of the plot, not really to do anything again for a while, but the transponder is working. We have what we need to pretend that we're Gorn. So we chase this Gorn ship, we follow its Walkite, to a binary star system. That's right! Guys, there's another battle of the binary stars. Remember way back when, on that first episode of Discovery? Those heady days when you didn't know what was going to happen with New Trek? And we all settled in with our popping corn and watched Battle of the Binary Stars. We watched that Vulcan Hello. Remember that? Well, we're back. We got another binary star system. And this is where the Gorn are going. And Uhura and I think Una, the two U names, come up with this idea that actually the Gorn, their hibernation cycle and their aggression cycle are tied to stellar activity. Pretty interesting. Although these aren't the Gorn I remember, we're in the alternate timeline. These are the alternate timeline Gorn, where they're very different, remind one of xenomorphs, and depend on the sun. Very cool if they were just something unique. I really would have thought this would be really cool if they invented a new alien race, but they kind of just called them Gorn. As is the case for many things in New Trek, we have these cool ideas, and they should be a new alien race, but let's just call them Klingons, or let's just call them Gorn, etc., etc. This time it's the Gorn. if we can make this star, if the star goes into a certain level of radiation, they know it's sleep time, and they'll go have a nap. But when it's this type of radiation, oh no, they wake up and now it's time for war. So what that means is that you can see that they're going into an aggression cycle, and we can tell from the activity of the star that we're going to be fighting them in the future. What do you think we should do? Well, if we can go between these two stars, we can change something with our shield, do some technobabble, attract a lot of stellar material, we can glow like another sun, and we can signal to these Gorn that it's time to go home. That's how we get them to retreat. Like they're animals. Like they never figured out the complexities of faster than light travel. It's not super easy to travel faster than light. Trust me, I know. But I think maybe I could figure out if someone was tricking me, making a false sun. If my entire species revolves around, no pun intended, around planning our activity around the sun and what suns do, that being stars, maybe I could tell the difference between a fake star and a real one. Or I could open a window. We could use visual observation. There's something we say in engineering, is that nothing replaces visual observation. So we read a gauge, you can't trust that 100%. Right? If you read the gauge and it says you're okay, you don't know. You actually have to get up off your seat and you have to check visually if something's okay. Gauges are there to assist you. They're not to actually tell you the actual reality on the ground. Nothing replaces visual observation. That's why we have windows, right? Gorn don't know that, and they just kind of trust that this sun is as it says it is, and this is a real sun, and we can retreat. Lots of great technobabble and science talk all around has led to the Enterprise standing between these two binary stars, coming to within an inch of its life, attracting a lot of stellar material, and causing our Gorn friends to retreat. And that's how we save the Federation, we save the universe, because this is New Trek. Every day we're saving the universe. The stakes are so high, but they can only get so high so often before you just get burnt out on it, and you're just saying, how are we going to save the universe today? Oh great, how am I going to almost die today? That's Star Trek. Instead of being a nice comfortable couch that we can sink back into and enjoy, isn't space great? Isn't space great? Number one. Yes, space is great. I do love space. I love how it's safe. I love how it's kind of like we're in our own living room and nothing's going wrong. I concur. Well, this is New Trek and we're almost dying. And by the way, who almost dies? Batel. Remember Captain Batel? Captain Pike's girlfriend or something? She was also on Parnassus Beta. And she got bitten somehow by a Gorn. And now she's giving birth to Gorn babies. She's Gorn pregnant. And we have to stop that. And we can't put her in, guess what, in our C plot? We can't put her in cryoserum sleep because she's allergic to cryoserum. Just like how I'm allergic to Retinax. I can't take Retinax. I gotta wear glasses. Can't do it. She's allergic to the serum that the nurse tries to give her, Nurse Chapel. Chapel. By the way, who's there? Of course, it's Spock. Spock has some kind of relationship thing going on with Chapel, so they need to be together in every scene, and we need to have a lot of tension. And by the way, when we're trying to work out all these different scenarios to save Chapel, they're coming up 0% chance of survivability, 0% chance, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. How are we going to do this? We should stop and have a conversation about our relationship between me and Spock. If I were Chapel, pretend I'm Chapel. I'm a little bit prettier than Chapel, I know, but just bear with me here. Pretend I'm Chapel. Spock, we need to talk about us. What's us? You know, us. And all these other types of dialogue that I don't understand because I don't understand love because I have a black hole for a heart. But they kind of it feels like we're ending this kind of Spock-Chapel thing, and I'm looking forward to not having it happen again. I'm looking forward to this being the end of it. Isn't that going to be cool? We ended it. We're cut off. Corby's coming in. I'm going to get corbed up. If you know TOS, it's Corbin time. But it looks like we kind of broke up over Batel, who's almost dying. Yeah, I know Batel's dying, but we need to talk about relationship stuff. I don't know. They know their audience, right? I guess the modern the modern era people who watch this, nothing is more important than my relationship with this person who I just met. I don't know how far back they go. Hopefully not too far back, because Spock is indeed still to marry that other person in the famous TOS episode that comes up in season 2. I won't spoil it. I think it's season 2. Yeah, I think it's the first episode of season 2, isn't it? Anyway, I'm getting distracted here. It turns out that the only way to save Batel is to give her the Illyrian... Is that Una's race, Illyrian? That genetically engineered race, and she has her blood plasma, or what have you, is able to fight off this Gorn infection, so they have to give Batel an infusion from Una. And how that works out is, you can't use that bioengineered stuff because it's bad. Bioengineer equals bad, which is par for the course for this era, I guess. We're not in the future where we can resolve that with sense. We have to do it in the past, thereby rendering everybody who was against it in the future after this point stupid. Oh wait, this is a different timeline. I forgot, this is a different timeline. Duh. It doesn't work like that. It could be anything we want. So anyway, that's how we save Batel. And Spock has some kind of moment where he talks about, instead of excising the Gorn baby from inside of Batel, we should instead feed it so it doesn't leave, because he deduces that the Gorn babies leave the host, and the first thing they do is feed. So if we can feed it while it's still in her, we can keep them sedated somehow. And it might be cool if we saw how that worked, but what actually happened was that it just cut. I think they cut the scene or something. It's not in the episode. The next scene is Batel being okay. Like, that happens, cut, fighting Gorn, click, she's fine. If you watch this episode, did you think something was missing? You tell me, I don't know. But these things I know in the editing room have to be cut like a madman. That one thing I learned in film class was that you got to be brutal in the editing room, because people don't want to have their time wasted, unless you're me. And I like watching ships slowly fly around doing nothing. I enjoy that. Maybe you do too, I don't know. There's your, what is it? I'm losing count. There's your C plot, but there's also a D plot. What's going on with Ortegas, Sam Kirk, Dr. Mbenga, and Lan? Did I already say her? I don't know. In the Gorn ship. Not only do we have hundreds of colonists sucked up into that gigantic Gorn ship, we also have some of our own characters, the ones I just named. They break out of their gross-looking biopods where it looks like they're being digested. And luckily, the things that couldn't be digested, including phaser rifles, are below them in the waste-collecting pool. Yeah, and we reach down there, and we just slop out this nasty, grime-covered phaser rifle, and we shake it to get that grime off, and it's so grimy. Ooh, but it's video game time. We're standing around, we talk about what we're going to do. We're going to steal a Gorn ship. That's a good idea, right? That's a good idea. That thing where you keep forcing yourself to believe something that you know is stupid. We need to walk over there, steal that Gorn ship, learn to fly it somehow, take it back to the Enterprise, give the Enterprise these transport coordinates so that we can beam out all the colonists and not get caught. That's a good idea. Yeah, it's a good idea. And you can see them trying to force it in their brain to work, even though they know it's never going to work. We're just operating on faith here, people. The theme of this episode, faith, is not a strategy. Right? Faith is not a strategy. Remember that. Hope is not a strategy. You know, I'll say this over and over and over again. I think I've said it before in a few reviews. You can only rely on hope so many times in an episode before it becomes farcical. And I think we might be going over the edge here. Granted, faith is the theme of this episode. I'll get into that in a moment. Video game time. We're standing there, and all the Gorn just start coming around every corner, and we got our phaser rifles, and we just got to shoot them. Pew, 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 pew. That's what I like. I like seeing things get shot. Pew, 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 pew. Oh, yeah. But we do manage to get into that Gorn hunter, as it were, and Ortegas can fly it. Are you implying that I can't fly this? Don't be so rude. I think she says something like that. It's a very awkward line. Some of the delivery was awkward from her in this. I don't know if this was intentional because she looked like she was dying. By the way, this episode would have operated much better if we actually saw it last season and this was the final episode of last season, because we wouldn't know if Erica was going to die or not. I've seen previews of what happens in this season after this episode. Ortegas is in it, so I know she's not dying. Tension deflated instantaneously. This really, really feels like it was supposed to be in the last season. This was supposed to be the actual last episode of last season, but it's not. We waited 2 years or something, and now I know that these people don't die. I don't know, it just deflated some of the tension, but maybe that's just me. It's kind of a weird thing to be arrogant about, so I'm not really holding it against it. But they do manage to fly this ship out, and they did do all the things that they needed to do, and this plan somehow worked. This bad idea, operating on faith alone, has saved the day. Nurse Chapel had like a 15% chance of surviving according to the computer. She lives. Scotty runs Pike through the simulation of what would happen when they go through the 2 binary stars to create an artificial sun. And he says its screen basically says it's going to fail. Pike says he likes that odds, and he goes with it. These 3 instances, operating on faith alone, is 3 too many? We can beat the odds once, okay. Twice, that's incredible. 3 times, I don't think so, because they compound upon each other, right? When a game of chance happens 3 times in a row, the chance of winning all these 3 games of chance compounds upon itself. It's not just one and then the other. They're connected, you see, in probability, because there's a probability we can fail all of them. Fail 1, fail 2, or fail none. What do you think the chances of failing none of them are? Guess what? We saved Chapel. According to the computer, she had no chance of surviving. We managed to create the artificial sun thing. Guess what? According to the computer, it wasn't going to work. And Ortegas and the gang managed to steal that hunter ship and get out. And according to them, that was a dumb idea, if you read between the lines. 3 times in a row? I don't know. Faith is not a strategy. But faith is the theme of this episode. How do I know it? They beat me over the head with it. And I'm not going to like that. But it was kind of neat how they ended it. You see, Pike, finally, he's been working in the back of his mind, worrying away. Is Batel going to survive? I have to save these colonists and save Batel. Can I do both? He walks into the medical room. Batel is laying there. He really thinks she's probably dead. We don't really know either. I figured she was going to be okay. But the audience doesn't really know. We're not really told in the dialogue. Maybe that's why they cut that section in there to show the Gorn babies coming out or what have you. He walks in and I didn't know what was happening at first. I didn't understand. And he looks up and he says, "Okay, Dad, you win." He looks up in space. Like, what does he mean by up? Where's up? And he looks up and then he starts saying a little prayer. He gets down and he's just praying. It means that we've stretched the limits of everything we can physically do with the tools that we have. And we are relying just on faith 100% now. There's nothing else we can do to save Batel / save the day, except for pick a deity and pray. And he does it, and then Batel wakes up. And cementing the fact that this episode is about faith. Even if you have a 1% chance to survive, it's better than nothing. And we're just going to pretend we're going to make it anyway. Spock, I don't want to hear the probabilities of us winning. We're going to do it. And we do it. And we ride by the seat of our pants, which is not that different from having faith. And it works. We had faith. Of the heart. And we managed to keep the Gorn away. For now. I know we're just kicking the can down the road. But the Gorn have gone home after that fake son told them to. We saved Batel. And by the way, we transported all those colonists to a medical thing somewhere on the ship or on backup ships. I don't know. We just kind of cut that content out. We didn't have the money to show 1 million extras walking around on the ship. So we're just going to trust that we beamed all those colonists out. And that's our episode. There's your basic blow by blow. Basic, blow, by, blow. That's your 4Bs. That's your 4B plan. And you just got it, hand delivered to you by me, Lieutenant Mark. What did we think? Musically, I thought this episode was very TOS. It was thumping, it was popping, and it kept me in on the action. Musically, I really liked it. I like that we're leaning into the TOS musical stylings here. I like that. We can superficially lean into TOS without causing a problem. But if we really lean too hard into TOS, it causes a reverse problem, where now we're stepping on TOS, and blah, 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 there's not enough action, this isn't crazy enough. You know what's going to happen when we eventually get to the point where we are remaking TOS itself episode by episode. I hope they don't. There I am looking up at someone just like Pike did. Please don't do that. Thematically, it's there. It's beating you on the head. It's basically the only theme I could really observe here. It's better than nothing, but it's very, very obvious. I immediately figured it out as soon as the episode ended. What could be more reliant on faith than actually trying to say a prayer to save someone's life? Am I right? Plot-wise, this is where we're failing. There's too much going on. There's too much going on. I was getting lost. One plot is so filled with technobabble that it made you do one of these. You don't want to be doing one of these when you hear technobabble. Right? You want to be able to save the day using techniques that we've established already in Star Trek. That's when it's good. And it's really good when you make the audience say, wow, I didn't think of that. Which I never did here. I never did that. Sign of a good plot is when you say that. I never thought of that way. I never said that at all. In fact, it felt like our technobabble solutions to these things are really just coming out of thin air. Regardless, it was interesting that these aliens, the Gorn we'll call them, were very, very heavily reliant on like the phases, we'll call it, of the sun. It's interesting enough. But too much going on. I couldn't concentrate hardly on what was going on between Spock and Chapel, nor did I really care. The plot on the Gorn ship, there was just nothing interesting about it. It was boilerplate. We need to get out of this gigantic ship with this insane interior, not unlike the Narada in Star Trek 2009. Wink, wink. So yeah, too much plot, too much going on, relying on a little bit too much technobabble, stretching my ability to withstand contrivances, conveniences, other C words, I don't know. So we're winning on most fronts, kind of. We're butting up against a wall in our plot. Thematically, it's something there. Musically, interesting. Plot-wise, a little bit hectic, we'll call it. That about wraps it up for our return to Strange New Worlds in Season 3. Hegemony Part 2. The Gorn hegemony, that is. Are we going to beat them in the future? Are they going to come back? Yes. What are we giving this episode out of 10? Well, I'm going to have to go with, originally, I wanted to give it a 6. But I thought really hard about it. Your themes are a little bit on the nose. The plot is a little bit too hectic. I didn't feel gripped so much by what was happening on the Gorn ship. I didn't feel the tension so well. It's just okay. I'm going 5.5. It could have been a lot worse. Should have been in the last season. But that's not really a huge factor. By the way, when was this filmed? This episode must have been filmed like in the can over 2 years ago. They must have. And after this, I think the characters are getting a little bit of a makeover. Like, they look totally different after this episode. Like, I was looking at some previews. It's just odd. Like, your first episode in your season is kind of like setting the tone for your season in these modern TV shows. But this one, it looks like it's just an oddball somehow. Maybe I'm totally wrong. And everything else about this season after this point is about the Gorn. And I'm totally wrong. I don't know. I've only seen a few previews here and there. I try not to watch them. And we're going to be back at you with the next episode here. I did not want to put these two episodes together in one review. There's just something insane about that. I knew just by the names of these episodes that there was going to be a problem there. 2 episodes they dropped at the same time. Hegemony Part 2 and Wedding Bell Blues. Yeah, they can't go on the same review together. Unlike what we did with Prodigy Season 2, where we did 2 episodes at a time, I think. I'm Lieutenant Mark, and I'm going to see you next time I see you. So long. I'm glad you came back. I am.